release of Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings will mark the MCU debut of the real Mandarin, after having been impersonated in Iron Man 3 by the actor Trevor Slattery, and later Aldrich Killian. In the Marvel one-shot All Hail the King, the real Mandarin is described as a warrior king who inspired generations of men through the Middle Ages, perhaps even further back in time, painting the Mandarin as a mythical figure of extreme power and influence. So what kind of figure could be so formidable, so widely feared that his very name strikes fear into the hearts of any who cross him? Let's explore that today. The Mandarin in the comics started out as a wealthy nobleman who was removed from his position of power by the Communist Revolution of 1949. Left to wander in search of a way to reclaim his power, he ventured into the mystic Valley of Spirits, where he stumbled upon the wreckage of an ancient alien vessel. After exploring the ship, he was able to use the technology from the hyperspace engine to his advantage, in the form of the 10 powerful rings. These rings possessed an array of different otherworldly powers, ranging from the ability to cast beams of literal nothingness from the void of space to the use of the Nightbringer to create a malleable darkness, as well as several elemental powers that seem to have been hinted at in the new Shang-Chi trailer. These rings can alter the properties of matter, breaking or rearranging the bonds between atoms. They can alter the properties of the electromagnetic spectrum, giving the Mandarin influence over various forms of light and radiation-based energies, as well as produce concussive blasts and manipulate elemental forces. The Mandarin has achieved such a level of mastery of the rings over the years that in many interpretations, he's the only one with the mental fortitude and connection to wield them efficiently. He has also been seen using the rings over vast distances, via the use of a telepathic bond that can be used even when the rings are not being worn by the Mandarin at that moment. He used these seemingly mystic powers to reign over his people with, in his word, the wisdom and harmony that he had allegedly inherited from his ancestors, fathering a son and mentoring the future Madame Macabre. The Mandarin worked to expand his empire and influence for years. Little did he know, however, that the inhabitants of the vessel from which he acquired the rings still roamed the earth, the Axon Kar. A race of extraterrestrial shapeshifters had been living on Earth since the wreckage, the most notable being Fang Fu. Fang Fu most often takes the shape of an image of a Chinese dragon, despite his ability to morph into virtually any form that he chooses. Many fans believe that the dragon seen in the trailer and Fang Fu are one and the same, possibly either seeking out the remains of his ship or being sought out by Shang-Chi in order to learn more about the rings and how to defeat them. However, this has recently been debunked, and it has been known that the dragon seen in the trailer is not in fact Fang Fu, based on various merchandise leaks, and that the dragon will fill some type of a protector role in the movie. What exactly his involvement will be is unsure, but at this point it's unknown if he has a connection with Fang Fu or if Fang Fu could appear in Shang-Chi. In the comics, for a period of time, the Mandarin was able to bend Fang Fu to his will, and keep him as a sort of servant to do his bidding. Though very little about this scene is known at the moment, it's possible Fang Fu is a slave to the Mandarin in the Marvel Universe. In the Shang-Chi trailer, it seems the 10 rings have been altered for their MCU debut in a couple of different ways. First off, they are not finger-worn rings like they are in the comics, but perhaps most jarringly is that they seem to lack any sense of individuality. In the comics, the rings are 10 unique tools, each with unique capabilities and purposes. The trailers seem to showcase these rings as a much more unified entity, collecting and uniting them in order to use the extent of their power. It does not appear that the rings individually have their own unique powers, but instead must be used in tandem with the rest of the set. They are all the same color, relatively the same size, are only ever seen working together in the trailers so far, and seem to operate in the same way. They use the same form of energy, and in fact appear to almost channel this energy from one ring to another, almost like some sort of conduit. The only instances of individuality they showcase is one, in the final shot when it appears Shang-Chi and his father are battling each other for the rings. In this shot, the rings change color, presumably based on whose control they are under. 2, the banner of the 10 rings emblem shows a different symbol within each of the rings, hinting that perhaps they have some sort of distinction between them, be it literal or symbolic, but this distinction is as of yet unclear. The Mandarin's organization, the 10 Rings, has already been explored extensively in the MCU, After all, this is the same organization that attacked Tony Stark's convoy all the way back in 2008's Iron Man, kicking off the start of the MCU as we know it. The Ten Rings were also one of the interested parties involved in the sale of the Yellow Jacket armor in Ant-Man, with one of these mercenaries sporting a familiar 10 Rings tattoo. We know the followers of the shadowy organization are exceptionally devoted to their ideals, to the point of following orders without question. In the previously mentioned one-shot All Hail the King, the interviewer is revealed to be a member of the Ten Rings organization, and is devoted to the point of homicide and orchestrating a prison break in order to bring Trevor Slattery face to face with the real Mandarin. The level of unquestioning compliance likely means that the Mandarin is not only a force to be reckoned with, but has the same level of devotion from the rest of his followers, setting Shang-Chi up for a long, difficult road through his father's followers to calm control of the Ten Rings. But this journey can only be speculated about until Shang-Chi's release this September. Anyway, my friends, what do you think about this? How far do you think the MCU will deviate from the Mandarin's comic origin, especially given his rather controversial depiction in Iron Man 3? How do you think the Ten Rings will operate in the Marvel Cinematic Universe? And is there anything in the Shang-Chi trailer that has deviated from the comics thus far that you do not like? As always, my friends, thank you guys so much for watching the channel. Hit that subscribe button to assemble and join our team, and have a great day.